Hi, welcome back to the next Storware Academy. Today I will present how the vProtect actually works with the Citrix Hypervisor or the XCP-ng systems. So what do we have here and what is the plan for today? I will just go deep dive and talk about the different strategy that we can use protecting and restoring these environments that I already mentioned. And I will show you a live demo how to use in a daily basis vProtect. So from the strategy to the configuration to the daily maintenance. Okay, so let's start with the high level remind you what's the high level architecture here. So on the left, on my screen, you can see the different hypervisors or containers on the cloud that we are supported. And of course, one of them are the XCP-ng or the Citrix hypervisors. There is application containers in the cloud, but what is more important when we concentrate on the XCP-ng and the Citrix is, okay, where we can store actually this backup. So the answer is on the right. You can see that the vProtect can work in two different modes. One of the mode, we are a fully independent vendor, so we can store the data on a file system or the data domain or any VTL that giving us the NFS share. So we need to just see the file system, mounted file system on one of our nodes that I will explain later. The second, let's say, type of the storages that we are supported is the object storages. Starting from the AWS, OpenStack Swift, Google Cloud Storage, and Azure Storage. So you can see that we supported most of the vendors. And of course, S3 has different flavors like Ceph, IBM Cloud, Scality, or Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So we have a file system, NFS sharing, so everything that is visible from the file system perspective. We have a cloud object storage, and the third part is different vendors. And that's why, and here we differentiate also the mode, how the vProtect works. So we here works as a proxy VM, so we can be an add-on to the existing enterprise backup vendors such as Dell EMC, IBM Spectrum Protect, or the Veritas. So the 4 different platforms that we support in, you can see Networker, NetBackup, Spectrum Protect, or the Avamar. So here the vProtect, the major goal is to grab the different hypervisors, especially the open ones based on Xen and the KVM, and put today ecosystem for the managing and all of the data lifecycle management processes. Okay, so today we'll figure it out and focus on the first mode, so vProtect as an independent vendor on the file system. Okay, so what different type of the strategies we have? The easiest way is to go and put the vProtect documentation in the Google. You will find our documentation, and here below, after the getting started, you go into the deployment in Citrix Xenserver XCP-ng environment. So you can see the 2 strategies. The first one, the older one, it's using the API approach and we based on XVA format. Here, what this strategy giving us is the great opportunity to use this format without install any agent itself. So we need to keep in mind that it's an agentless architecture. So we just call the specific hypervisor with the API and have the option to have a full backup or incremental one. The second option is to use change block tracking strategy. So this strategy was introduced to the Citrix hypervisor, formerly Xenserver in 7.3 version, so we support it since the beginning. So here we based on the NBD service, and we have an option to just take the changes of the blocks that the NBD service given us. So it's much more efficient way to protect your XCP-ng or the Citrix way, because we just send in after first full only the incremental changes based off the change blocked. Of course, both formats keeps all of the metadata regarding the virtual machine, and both scenarios doesn't require to install the vProtect itself on one of the hosts. So you can see in both scenarios the vProtect node and the server is installed, can be physical or virtual machine outside the actual cluster that we are protecting. Of course, the backup destination, I will show you that the node can have a variety of choices where to store the data. Okay, so let's go deep dive to the live demo here. So I have my vProtect server and the node as one of the virtual machines, so it's on a one VM. So my environment is the virtual appliance, so the node and the server is on one machine. So let's go into this installation. So after login, you can see the dashboard. So you will see definitely what's most important in a daily basis is the success rate from the last 24 hours. So we can see how many virtual machines from my whole environment were protected in with the completion and with the success, and how many of them just failed. Some bunch of the statistics, and of course, when you are first time using the vProtect, I advise you to use the virtual configuration wizard. Here you can easily go through all of the necessary steps to configure your XCP-ng Citrix environment in quite easy way. So let's explain you how to add the hypervisor itself. So you can see it's a second step. So we're saying, okay, what we need to protect. Then we decided where to protect. So in a normal configuration, you just need to go to the hypervisor tab and choose, in our scenario, it's the Citrix hypervisor here, not the manager, because we need to contact each host to have the option later on to send and load balance the backup operation from each node. This is quite a great functionality that all of the hosts in your cluster will work independently and send in the data directly to the vProtect node and the server itself. So after we add it, we just need to give where is the host, what's the username, and what's the password. I already have in my environment Citrix host, so let me find it. Okay, we have a 2 in my demo lab host. I will use this one. It's not a huge, but I just want to show you how it works. So you can see that there's a 1 VM on the XCP-ng Storware local. So what do we need to do after we added a hypervisor or the group of the hypervisors? We just need to index each of them. No worries, I just did on demand synchronization, but it will do automatically every day that when you will use the vProtect itself. What the synchronization does, it's just grabbing the information, so calling the API and I said, okay, XCP-ng Citrix hypervisor, just give me the information, what changed in your environment, how many, what's the machines, what tags are they using, if there's any changes since the network configuration, etc. So we finalized, okay, we've seen that we could grab this information. What's the next? After we sync, we should go to the policy and create our own policy for this specific environment. Policies or the backup destination. In my scenario, I already prepared the backup destination. So you can see we can have different flavors. One of the most commonly used is the file system. So like you see here, it's the video file system. Why I named video? Because we're using the KVideo or video, depends if you're using CentOS or the Red Hat virtualization, the virtual data optimizer option. So we just need to attach the disk, and based on it, we creating KVideo, which will give us the opportunity to have the inline deduplication and compression method based on 4K block. So if you see in the vProtect and the duplication, there is a KVideo if we're talking about the CentOS distribution behind the scenes. So we just, what we need to do here is to just put the specific device. What is more important in a backup destination, we also keep the retention for the backup. So it means if I will send my virtual machines here to this backup destination, I will keep base of 4 fulls, 10 version from the incremental, 30 days, 14 days for the incremental. So the retention, keep in mind, I kept in the specific backup destination. So, okay, we added hypervisor. We know where to store our VMs. So let's go to the policies and create the policy from the scratch. XCP-ng Citrix policy. Here you can see that you can use the auto remove non-persistent virtual machines. So it means that if your machine will disappear from the cluster, it will be automatically disappear, of course, if we will not have any backups here. Priority auto assignment. This is in most cases must-have feature, because we can assign specific tags or specific names, regular expression. So it means that if the VM will have, let's say, vPro Citrix tag, or it will start with some naming convention, it will be automatically added to this specific policy that I just created. Okay, so let's keep the tag vPro Citrix. What type of the different clusters environments I would like to add? Let's focus on all of them. We can choose the virtual machine from the whole list. I will not look for, because the tag will automatically attached. And the rule means here that where I should store my backup. So I will use my file system with the deduplication based on video, and I will attach to some schedules. Yeah, let's attach to 2 schedules, weekly full and the daily incremental. So I will not create the schedules from the scratch, will be easier. Save. After that, I will come back, and again, I will synchronize my XCP-ng host. Let's wait for the inventory synchronization process to be done. And later on, I will go to the policies. So let's check if we finalized. Let's have a few seconds more. So we finalized the inventory synchronization, and you can see that already my XCP-ng Citrix policy has assigned a new VM. So it means that this machine actually used this tag, and this tag allows me to automatically assign this VM to the specific policy. Okay, so you can right now run the policy or all of the VMs assigned to this policy. I will do it right now, and I will say, okay, let's do the incremental backup and choose, let's keep the same file system that I decided to use in the policy. So I just run the task right now. So let's see. I see also the cleanup backups are working in the meantime. So you can see we have a task that task is running. So we're doing the incremental backup for this specific VM based of these hypervisors. So let's go to my XCP-ng console. Look at here that we have this VM. I will go to the snapshot. So you can see that right now we just doing this snapshot. So there is a name of the vProtect. So the snapshot was created so we can keep the chain of the different snapshots. Basically, because we can mix the snapshot management and the backups. So normally you should have always keep one snapshot on your Citrix hypervisor. So you can see I ran the incremental backup. It's already done. So it was quite fast. So here let's go into the details of the VM. So you can see the existing backups, the history. So in the history you can see that it was quite fast. So in a second I will put the full, so you will see that we already created the snapshot. When you have an incremental, it's hard to catch up the snap that we're doing. And also you can see the restore history. There are some failed, maybe problem with the configuration for sure. Here we can see that there's an IO error here, so maybe it's something with the configuration. Snapshots, so you can manage independent snapshots on your environment. The number of the disk that we can have. Here you can see the space that you can exclude your disk from your backups. Schedules and the settings. Here it's important that the machine automatically inherit the way which strategy we're using. When we are adding the hypervisors, we also need to choose the way are we using the strategy 1 or strategy 2. Also, what is important here, you can use the quiesced freeze because before snapshot. So if the machine has installed the tools, you can, like Windows, you can use the VSS freeze, or you can quiesce the machine if you're using the Linux one. Pre-post snapshot is important because sometimes if you would like to, normally you have a crash consistent, but if you would like to have 100% sure that everything is in good shape, it's good to have the option to execute the SSH command before and the post snapshot occurs. Here also you can see the SSH access to this particular VM that is protected. Also, here you can see some statistics, how much of the size backup we done, what's the hypervisors, what's the tag that we use in it, and what's the strategy and the policy where we attach this particular VM. So you can see the snapshot management policy is a different one than the virtual environments policy. Also some statistics about the restoration time, etc. So let's go to the task. We can see that another task, the incremental, was finished. As I said, right now I will do the full one. So you will see that actually when we create in a task, let's clean, it will be easier to catch up, only the latest one. Okay, you can see that right now it's full and it should create a snapshot here. So let's wait for a second and we'll see the results in a few minutes. Okay, so I said about the option to create a policy, the option to automatically create the backups based of the machines which are assigned to the policy. So let's see what other features we can find it. Let's find my Citrix machines. This is this one. So let's again going inside. So you can see restore. Here you have plenty of the choices. First one, you need to choose the snap. We can use the full or the incremental. So let's grab one of them. And the way how we can restore. We can restore directly to the hypervisor, or we can restore directly to the specific file system. So it means coming back to the node. So we don't want to put the data itself to the hypervisors. We would like to keep this format. It depends which format we choose from the strategy perspective, but let's say XVA format, we can restore directly to the file system. In most cases, we're coming back directly to the hypervisors, so we're showing which hypervisor we should come back. Shall we delete the already existing machine, or can we specify the new name? So the new VM restore demo 01. So we can just create another task, restoration task for it. The third option is to mount. Mount means that you can individually restore your files from your full or incremental backup. So when you have a mount option, so let's click it, so you can mount. Again, you're choosing which type to use, and you can mount automatically based of the disk to the specific file system. So it can automatically means that will restore and this format will be readable, or we can share it via iSCSI to the different hosts, for example, based of the iSCSI initiator client. I already have my mounted backups from the other system, so you can see after we mounted, this is the Windows-based machine, we can browse, so you can see the specific files. You can grab them, you can download it, or if you have iSCSI, you can just grab it directly from the host that you are attached. Okay, so mounted means individual file restoration. What's more, in the policies you can see, so let's come back to the machine. The last option is the snapshot. So if this machine is attached to the snapshot management policy, it means that you can create also a snapshot and you can manage the snapshot later on in a tab here in a snapshot. So you can have the option to revamp the snapshot in case of any failure. Of course, the snapshot is not the option to replace your backups, but it's a great add-on to, let's say, in the daily basis doing a backup night, but during a day you can have a quite aggressive RPO and RTOs, so you can manage snapshots, let's say every 15 minutes from, let's say, 9 a.m. to the 5 p.m. Then you're doing the full clone or the incremental one. So where to put and where to create the policy for the snapshots is everything is a policy in a different tabs. So you have a virtual environments backup, the policy that we already created. There is also the snapshot management, so there is a different policies, so you can here assign also the machine, but small differences, because you do not store in the backup in your backup destination, you just need to create the retention times here in this policy. Also you have two more policies from the application backup perspective. You just need to know that the vProtect itself has the application backup module. So we have a generic way how to go inside to specific VM or physical machine via SSH, and we can execute whatever we want. We have some definition that we can build, and we have some standard templates that help us to let's say generate whatever we want and whatever application we would like to protect. The last important part is the way how we automate the processes from the restoration point of view. So this is the recovery plans. Here you can create a policy with the specific rules. So let's grab Citrix one with the rules production. So you can specify the environments with the schedules and with the restoration parameters. So this is what I done manually on demand when I created the restoration or the snapshot. It's quite right now waiting in the queue, so that I cannot put more tasks. I can change, of course. But what if you have 100 machines or 1,000 machines and you would like to restore them in some sequence that you planned? So the recovery plan is the option to fully automate the process of the restoration, but it's also a brilliant opportunity to have the disaster recovery test capabilities, because you can decide where the restoration and how the restoration should occur. Okay, so I explain you the different strategy of the Citrix and the XCP-ng, how to properly backup. I explain you what you have freedom of choice philosophy, so where you can actually store your backups. I explain how to build the policy from the virtualization, virtual environments backup through the snapshot, through the application, via and in the end by recovery plan to automate your restoration. And you just see how to actually manage all of the tasks from the dashboard, and keep in mind that from the you have a drill down option. So if something goes well, you go into the specific VM, you can see all of the analytics, all of the changes, and of course log from the specific task that we are interested in. So that was the Storware Academy. I showed you the XCP-ng and Citrix capabilities using the vProtect. If you will have any more questions, just contact us. Thank you.